But you can see it though.
It's
We
not,
can't see
it's not clear, it's gotta be in focus.
Well,
There we go.
There, that's what we're doing.
That's a little bit better.
Page then.
Hocus
Would you like to start,
pocus,
or would you like me to start?
I'm gonna turn it over, everybody here? First?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna turn it over to you, and if
Okay,
there's,
thank you very much.
ground rules, if there's any questions, feel free to ask.
Okay,
Just for us, not for you.
okey dokey.
Okay.
Thank you everyone for coming. I guess before we start hitting each department, everybody's had a chance to look at their budget book and their council handout book. Are there any questions before we start, or if there's anything in the books to talk about before we go into departments, or should we just jump in and we can hit things as we go?
Well, are you talking about questions in general, or just questions about the department? Because I have like 25 questions, so I don't know.
What would they be?
Well, we're starting with why are there no cuts in the budget, and they end up with,
I think what we'll do is go through each department by department, and then we can talk about where,
Yeah, then,
I mean, I
Liz,
see this as
what
the
will you,
beginning of the conversation, not the end, about how the budget was put together and what our contribution would be to make cuts. So, I mean, I have a lot of...
right, that's your, and Liz, that's your prerogative to make cuts. We've prepared a budget based on historical spending, based on what we think each department needs to spend to run their department in a proper manner. You can, it's you're allowed to do whatever you want. After, as the way it's gone in the past, departments go through department, and then you kind of dismiss us,
it's not to
and
say
then
what
you
you're
will
doing is bad.
do whatever changes you
We
want.
question each department, and at the end, if you wanna summarize it by saying,
Okay.
Yeah,
that's up to, whatever way.
but we feel that we've prepared budgets the last 12 years that adequately spent what was needed to be spent, and there was no
Well,
overspending of every, well, no, I think I want to answer that question.
no, I want
That
you-
we have not overspent the budget, there hasn't been any fat in any line item, so in order to just indiscriminately cut something in order to cut would be saying that we didn't do it properly in the past, and that's not true.
Paul, let me
Sir.
say something real quick.
Okay.
Nobody's saying you didn't do a good job.
No,
But I will remind you and every member of the administration that once the budget is in our hands, it's our baby.
absolutely.
Okay? Now, there's nothing off the board. I want to stress that. I don't care what the mayor said. Anything that was brought up or anything that council's going to bring up is on the board, okay?
Yes,
Okay,
the
I mean-
question was asked why we didn't
Yeah,
cut.
but we're not
And
saying,
I
we're not
answered
saying
that
you didn't do
question.
a good job. We're saying that if we get up against a wall and we have to make some tough decisions.
Absolutely.
That may come up, Paul.
Absolutely.
Okay.
See, you're not allowing me to answer that question.
I will allow you to
Okay,
answer.
thank you very
But
much.
don't take it personal like
I'm
you
not
did,
taking it
okay?
personal, I'm just answering the question. That we don't think we cut where there was cuts necessary, and we added where there was additions necessary. Okay,
Can I say something?
yes, absolutely.
The mayor said there's an $11 million reserve.
There is $12 million in the bank right now,
11 or 12?
in that neighborhood, depending on what was paid, what bills were paid today, what money came in. I can't tell you exactly
So it's
today
fair
what
to
it
say,
is.
10 to 11 million is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Can we play with that? Or does that have to stay there?
If you'd like to.
Yeah.
The only bad thing about that, Kathy, is if we take too much out of
Right,
that,
you don't want it to be.
we don't want to run ourselves down to a zero balance, because we have to make sure we have enough money on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to make payroll, to pay our bills.
It's paid
Yeah.
bills at the beginning of the
Yeah.
year, before taxes are all in.
Yeah.
Let's move on some of the departments and
Okay.
see where this leads us.
Yeah, I think that's a good.
Okay, so I guess we will start with elected officials. Teresa's here, or would council like to go over?
Are you in a hurry, Teresa?
Okay,
Lisa's here for the duration.
Yeah, you want to start with city council then?
okay.
That's the first one in the book,
City council is on page
14.
14 of the budget book.
You didn't give us a big thing this year, did you? Like,
Oh, yeah, we did get a big, you weren't, you know what, Cal's wasn't here.
Did he get this?
He didn't get that.
yeah, I got
Didn't we give you this, the other day when you were up in my office?
I don't think I got that.
This is like,
The
it's
handout
loose.
book.
Do you really need an office?
I'll give it back to her.
It's somewhere I can go, you know.
Yeah, this one I didn't get. You want yours back? You got any notes? Okay. Little
You leave your.
little shade on the sunshine. I'm just joking with you.
You sat in my office for an hour.
Well, yeah, but you didn't
You
give it
asked
to
me
me.
for 43 things. I thought you picked that up.
You missed the 44th.
Well, I guess I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Okay, city council, same amount of FTEs as always, seven FTEs. So the salaries, because yours are set by ordinance, the salaries are the same. FICA, pension, group, and comp.
Generally, what did insurance increase on all departments? Is that fair to ask, or
Yeah, per person, it's really not that much money. It's about $600 per person.
right across the board?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had a decent year this year. And with the projections that Highmark gave us, and we're gonna be with UPMC also next year, we're not looking at the 8 or 9% that as you looked in your, council book, which you just got, the Kaiser Foundation was projecting higher than, ours will be.
I did have a question about the city council budget. We have money in there for professional services, and this is actually a question to council members. We aren't going to spend everything that's in there for professional services, and I'm wondering if we would like to use some of that money that's still in there for this year to bring on our own financial consultant if necessary before the end of the year.
Well, we could, but that's not for today. We can do that.
But I mean, we might need somebody because I think, I think we're going to be doing some major work on this budget. It's just a suggestion. Not because we have talked in the past about maybe we need our, like a per diem solicitor, but I would say we might need a per diem finance person to just come in if we get at loggerheads on this budget. So just a suggestion. I just wanted to point out that if I'm reading this right, that there was $30,000 was allocated, and year-to-date, we don't have, those are just through October, so we don't have the through November numbers yet because we aren't through November. But is there anything else that would be coming through for professional services for city council? I don't think so.
Maybe the audit, that's all.
I think the audit,
Did we pay for the audit yet?
That comes out of general government.
Oh, we don't pay it? Okay.
No, general government, the single audit portion comes out of, local match.
and what about the land bank acquisition? Do we have to allocate that again next year? There's $5,000 that came out of the city council
They
budget.
didn't put it in for next year.
Is that done? We don't have to worry about adding?
No, that was done for this year.
I'm just asking that we aren't going to be asked for $5,000 next year from the
We
city
did
council
it.
budget?
We did the short
Establish
commitment.
themselves. I think we did that as trying to
commitment.
help them
Okay.
get off their feet.
That was a one-time we did that. But once he listed it, it shows in here then.
No, I just wanted to make sure it
Yeah.
wasn't
No, we don't,
something that we
he
would.
didn't put it in
be
for
an
next year.
annual thing. Okay.
Not unless you want to, but
No. We-
I'm okay with it too.
And there again, to Liz's thing, who knows, maybe light item for professional services for the upcoming year, maybe we can cut that in half or something, or cut it by 33%, because we really
Yeah, we haven't used that.
haven't used it
Yeah,
like,
but let's put it like an asterisk there that we might want to revisit that. so.
Past history will tell you want to keep it in there though.
how long ago past history?
You just think
Recent, for me. Within 12 years,
Okay.
it could come up that,
I,
Liz brought up a good point, but that's if we need it. I would not get rid of it right away.
go ahead.
What's that? What?
County council has their own finance person, so I think we might need one. Not at full-time, but we might need one. What? What is your problem?
No,
Yeah, what did you just say
You
under
wanted to
your
know-
breath about
you
who
wanted to know-
prepared this budget?
Yes.
Are you talking about us? I certainly didn't prepare the 2018 budget.
Somebody prepared the council and the
The-
clerk's budget.
And we did not do it. I asked the clerk, and she said, we're just going to put in the same things from last year. There was no attempt to reach out to council and say, should some of these items be changed? So,
Our budget's made by our
The clerk.
clerk.
Yeah.
That's who do our budget. It's been that way forever.
just because something's been that way forever doesn't mean it has to stay that way forever. I think there should have been some communication that this is our budget and how would we prepare it, so.
The addition of the professional was a previous council's idea that a lot of times we didn't get a quick enough response from the solicitor's office. And we still may have that problem in the future. So
No, I
to
remember
prevent
you
that,
talking
we
about
can
that,
go
yeah.
out and seek legal help
Yeah.
to answer the questions that may be thorny for the administration. That's
But
why I
but
tell
I'm
you,
just saying,
keep it in there.
don't be sarcastic about who prepared this budget, because I'm new to council. I already was told at the last meeting that, oh, you haven't been in on a budget before. I've covered budgets, I'm going to repeat that, and I've done budgets. So how would we know that we were supposed to prepare this if no one came to us, okay? Wasn't my job to say, where does the city council budget come from?
Does anybody see any problem with the council so far?
No.
On to the city clerk.
Yep, that should, go ahead.
Same number of FTEs. Again, pension, group, comp, deferred comp, all based on the number of FTEs and dollars spent. Below the line, again, same thing. Office supplies, operating supplies, consumables.
Pretty much above the line, we have no control unless you're gonna make cuts. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, all the things that are normally spent.
Any questions on that office? How about, next is what, mayor?
Yes. Page 16, mayor's office. Now, FTE-wise, there were some changes made at the beginning of the year where a couple jobs were moved from different departments and they were moved into the mayor's office. So at the bottom of the page, you'll see that 2018 FTEs are the same as the 2019 FTEs.
Now, which jobs are moved in,
Media and event.
Yeah, well, there was an opening in the garage that was moved in, there was an opening in the solicitor's office that was moved in, Moss Sailor's job was moved from economic development up, and there was a job in HR.
okay, now the question, this is an exception to the rule. When they came into office, did they assume the salaries of the previous employees?
They assumed those salaries at that point in time.
Like the executive secretary had the same salary, the various people that had the same
Yes,
titles?
when they took those jobs, yes.
Okay, did they receive last year, this current year, did they receive a pay raise at all?
Well, there was some changes to these numbers, and I think council asked for this back in February, and we showed where the ups and the downs actually equaled out between all the changes here and changes that were made in other departments.
Now, is there presently a appetite for raises again in that department?
I don't think there's nothing more than what is normally considered cost of living.
3%.
Yes.
I am going to propose, as I have before, that there be a freeze on all salary increases for all managers, and this is not picking on the mayor's office. I think that the mayor's office has done a fantastic job. The amount of time and energy and outreach that the mayor's office has done has been amazing. But if you look at the early intervention report, I believe it is, or it might have been in our, the worksheets that we got here, there have consistently been raises that have exceeded the consumer price index for at least the last 10 years. We have no control right now over what's happened in the bargaining units, but we can't justify raising management salaries by 3% across the board, especially because there has not been the institution of performance reviews. Paul, I wanted to ask you, I believe that in the budget document that we got, not the big one, the one we got 2 weeks ago, it said that salaries and benefit increases accounted for $2 million. Is that correct? And if I'm correct, about 33% of that would be managers or non-bargaining? What would be the percent?
Management non-bargaining is about $140,000,
What's the percentage?
7% of the total.
7% of
Yeah,
the
that's
$2 million?
$2 million.
Okay, so it would, and if there was a freeze, it would be how much?
$140,000.
Okay.
If we,
And this is not picking on anybody. This is a realistic look at the fact that we cannot afford raises and that performance reviews have not been put in place. I think if there were going to be any kind of management raises, it could be budgeted for the fourth quarter, and there could be a range, and it would be dependent on performance reviews, would be my recommendation.
once again, if we did the wage freeze for the 3%, that equals 140
Yes.
for this budget? Yes, okay, thank you.
I'm perfectly willing to take a wage freeze, but I would have you look through this closely because there are a lot of departments where we have issues where people that are being managed make more than management already.
You know,
And
and,
so that makes
okay.
it very difficult for managers
And- and
to
I-
making less.
and
So
I-
I just ask you to just consider that, I'm not.
I will consider it, but as a victim of that, I was a victim of that also, which was not my control or her control.
I realize that.
Who gave those increases when they came in office? Who gave the salaries out? The mayor.
I'm talking about management across the board.
Yes, but the non-bargaining people are given salaries based on what the administration wants.
If they're given. the
You do know that
3%
when Mayor Lou Tullio was in office, he had an ironclad rule. You know what that was? Nobody would make more than him. No, I mean, you can look it up, and I'm sure somewhere in the files of the Erie Times, there's an article about one guy exceeding that, Mr. Ray Chambers, who was a union employee, who worked a lot of overtime. All we're asking is, look, we didn't make this mess, okay? I never liked it when I was in management, but I'm not the one that gives out salaries that people make more than I do. That's under your control, okay?
I'm saying the union, because the unions, because we have.
Well, we can't deal with the unions, we can
Right.
control
I
non-bargaining.
understand that, but what I'm saying is if we institute a pay freeze, then we're going to create an even more difficult situation. I'm just asking you.
I would tell you this, I think there's a lot of people that would love to take entry jobs at 40 to 50,000. You want me to find them for you? You want to take the appetite of the people I gotta deal with on the street, okay? They don't want to hear no more of this. Because we're asking tough questions, you know, at some point in time, look, everybody hurts. I can't help that they're in a union, I can't help their police officers, those are negotiated. We can only control the things we can control. We haven't done a good job. I don't know of any other business where people come into a job and get the wage of the person that left. It didn't happen in the Army, it didn't happen in the private sector, only in government. I think that's what you're getting at, right? I don't know, when Liz was a reporter, I don't think if Kevin retires tomorrow, that I would get his salary if I took over for him.
Give you more.
Well, I don't think so, but, I mean, I'm asking a question, okay? I feel the pain, but we're in tough times. I gotta go out there to my neighbors and people I deal with every day, and they're not happy. They don't wanna hear that, on one hand, we're taking out of their left pocket, and we're not taking out of their right pocket. So let's understand that, okay? All right. I've pontificated enough. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay, mayor's office, so we've hit on the FTEs and the salaries. Below the line expenses, what we did was we took what was the spending of this year and used it the same for next year. I guess any questions on this?
Well, I looked at a few of these numbers and they,
I have one.
go ahead.
For 2018, $4,000 was budgeted for education and training. And year-to-date, 1,250 has been spent. 2019 budget is $6,000. Would they be willing to have webinars, seminars, instead of traveling out of town seminars, to slash the $6,000 down to $4,000 or so?
Or less?
First, to answer what happened there, Kathy, I think maybe that's your first question. Okay, the department had a $4,000 budget. At this point in time, we've only spent $1,250 in that department. But because the mayor done a couple, community-oriented
Nobody else is dead though.
From the corporate world, so that.
trips, if you will, we had to pay for those out of the general government budget. So this year, just in anticipation of him doing the same types of things this year, going out, reaching out to the community, reaching out in the area, we move those back into that department's budget. So that's why you see 4,000, 1,000, 6,000.
Didn't you do that last year?
No, we did not.
Okay, because they all doubled. I had a lot of them listed here. Everything seemed to have doubled. That's what my question was gonna be.
There's a couple more people doing, I guess I shouldn't speak for you on this. Remember, we've added Lawson, the community service person. We've added Kathy Rice, our city planner. Michael Outlaw, who's doing outreach stuff. So there's a lot more people doing a lot more things than were in the budget, that were in that department.
Well, that was one of the few,
In 2017.
that was one of the few departments that doubled. The rest of them seemed to be,
Spend a lot more money, yes, that's
the rest
correct.
of them seemed to be stable. That's what, you know.
Well,
But
more,
that's because we use money out of general.
yes, more people doing more things, Kaz, that's what happened.
Well, just asking.
And that's the answer.
But there again, these are, as we go through the budget, these are the little asterisk things we can come back to after we go through the book, correct?
Yep.
And that $6,000 is based on actual conferences that they want to go to. That wasn't a number that was just pulled out of the air. About 4,000 of that is for Kathy Rosdick for the NBC training that we were granted. the
But I think,
National Zoning Council.
I think council just wants to make sure that trips are necessary and for a good reason. Because in the past, when I was controller, there was a few that were outlandish. Trips to Puerto Rico or when,
Which you deny.
yes, I did, but
Okay.
I'm just making sure we don't go down that road again, you know. That, you know, we have to justify to the public what we do here. Little things become big things in a town the size of Erie. Go ahead, Paul, where were you?
Okay, I guess any other questions about the mayor's budget?
No, move on.
How about other service charges? Those are big numbers too there. Is that the same reason?
Yes.
That's where we have membership.
Number three different
American
people.
Planning Organization.
Okay, moving on, we hit page 20, the solicitor's office.
My favorite department.
Is that your son's a lawyer?
No. Your thing didn't come through, so I didn't get the answers I needed. The attachment wasn't available. Somehow our city system doesn't work properly. But we have all these media people, and yet it doesn't work. I don't know why. Maybe we gotta look at that. Just like the lack of emails to council people. We'll discuss that later.
Okay. FTEs, same number of people in the department for 2019 that have been there during the full year of 2018.
Okay.
The salaries look to go down, remembering we have, our solicitor is being paid as a professional service, and we actually lost one of the FTEs in the solicitor's office.
Will they be
this year.
replaced?
No, not as a full-time equivalent.
Which position is that?
It was one of the assistant solicitors.
Going to part-time?
Well, no,
Even after
It's
the-
already
that's out the door.
But I mean, if it comes back, it'll be part-time.
No, the part-time person was not replaced this year.
Okay.
Remember, we had last year 6.5. So we're down to 4. Without naming, Nate Strasser was the part-time. Nate is not with us anymore. We didn't replace him. We're going to replace him. That's what that casual labor is on the very bottom of the page. Kenny Zach retired, remember, back in May. That was not replaced at all. And when Greg left, Greg was replaced by Ed, and that's professional service, which is being paid out of
General government? How much is that?
It's about around $130,000 budgeted.
That's more than Greg Carly cost us, doesn't it?
No, it's not. Greg's salary last year was 103, 104, plus his benefit package. He was in the low 30s, 33, 35.
I thought it was quoted 128 earlier.
What was?
Budgeted 130.
No, I thought it was 128 with benefits.
No.
It's still pretty close, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the same neighborhood.
Now, is that up to right now? What would be at the end of the year?
Year to date, we've paid Ed $100,000.
Okay,
And I don't
good.
have it's
Yeah, 'cause council-
142.
Council was not memoed as promised, not by you, as promised by the mayor that we would get, monthly,
Well, you,
and that disappeared after about 4 or 5 months.
but you do approve the list of bills each month.
Yeah, but Paul, looking at those bills and payroll, okay, it wasn't as nice as when we got what we were promised, which was that's what we were promised, a separate thing.
Normally, we got that at a
And I'm gonna
finance.
say, I'm sorry, I don't remember that. Okay, call me and ask.
Well, I did today because I thought about it, okay? Because we're coming up to budget time.
And I sent you.
I don't have a full-time job down here, remember that, okay? I don't reside here like I used to. So, I mean, little things get by me
And I
sometimes.
sent you the email.
But I didn't get it, I told you it won't open.
I might have to come up to your house and help you with your wife.
No, I think our IT department's gonna have to make my phone properly work, so it takes the stuff that we send here. You want to see it? I'll show you after the meeting.
We've paid $100,000 to Ed so far with 1 month to go.
Okay. I just want to know because the question is, I couldn't find it, and I figured it was somewhere in general government.
And that's what we paid, and council approved the transfer of that money from this department into general government back in January, February, and I'm not gonna tell you. I remember the exact meeting.
we just
the
wanna
exact
keep an
date,
eye on it.
But, yeah.
We want to see if the benefits of a part-time solicitor are as good as a full-time one.
And
That's
it's
a
probably gonna be
valid question.
close at
Huh?
the end of the day. It's been one of those years, too.
We got a lot on our plate.
Yeah.
You are planning on hiring another part-time solicitor for $35,000.
Yes,
Someone from here?
yes.
And they will have pension on it.
It's a
So that's the same.
1099 person.
As long as they remain part-time. Because if they cross the other threshold, then they,
No, they're gonna be paid, they're 1099 person, they're not.
okay, just
not
want to make
gonna
sure.
be on payroll.
We've had similar problems in the past. We
yes.
won't go into that.
I agree with you.
I'll tell you afterwards. I told you I'm in a good mood, it's just coffee.
So, again, their benefits, their FICA tax, their pension, their group, their comp, and their deferred, all based on the number of FTEs and the calculated amount per person for each of those things. And then below the line, office supplies, professional services, education and training, communication, and the like. I'm sorry I'm going through each of these, I know everyone's got
Why
this
did,
stuff.
what's the reason for professional services jumping up to 12.5?
That's if they have to hire outside counsel.
Yes,
Or they got, it covers a lot of things, right?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Our lawyers have to hire outside. Just,
Yeah, they have court reporters that they pay for when there's that type of thing. Arbitration services, every time we go to arbitration through one of our employees, we pay for those. And also, any type of attorney registrations.
Yeah, believe, when I used to monitor that, it was above the board. I mean, you looked at them and,
Yeah, for
Our
the most part, I'm sorry, Kaz, for the most part, we spend about $8,000 or $10,000 in arbitration services, which we pay for when those things happen.
Any questions on solicitor?
Oh, we're good.
Okay, treasurer, we're not gonna go over that one, right?
No, Susie's gonna come on, Wednesday.
Let's go to my
She was
favorite
busy today.
department. The controller's office. You'll note that it always comes in under budget every year. They lead by example. Go ahead, Paul. You like that segue, don't you?
Same number of FTEs. As Kaz said, Teresa has run a very tight ship the last 5 years in that her spending comes in less than budgeted. Looking down through there, again, the same number, same accounts, same type of accounts in other departments.
Might there be an opportunity for Teresa to do some training for other departments about how you do this? I think that would be a really good idea. I mean, I know, just by sitting next, we always sit next to each other in the caucus room, and I think that there's a really good way to learn by example about how you keep, you have that mindset, and I think it would be useful to do some training for other departments. Are there any special things that you do to, I mean, other than, having your financial background, is there anything special that jumps out at you when you say, is it a goal to make sure you come under budget, or?
One of them, the other one is just to be very careful with what we're buying and spending. So
She has a good
we don't need
deputy.
it, we don't get it.
Okay.
And not have the mentality of the money's there, use it or lose it type mentality that,
And I can tell you, in the 12 years her deputy was on me,
Tight ship.
she knows how to run a tight office.
It also looks like you maintain good control over overtime. I don't know how many are eligible for overtime. I mean, it's just coming in, year-to-date is,
The only time we do is with the state report, if we run into, getting out of the
well, thank you for what you do.
and we're switching.
Yeah, same deal.
Rod is-
He said, yeah.
Okay, everybody okay with the controller's office, or? You're satisfied?
At the end of the year.
Teresa, you're satisfied with this? Okay. Move on.
OE pension,
Explain that that's reimbursed, most of it, too.
yes, it is, it's reimbursed by the pension fund. The salary and all the benefits of the pension administrator are reimbursed by the pension funds. And you see that in the very front of the book.
So that's kind of like a
That's
no-brainer.
audited? That's audited, right?
Oh, yeah.
I wonder who
So
audited.
we don't have to concern ourselves about that?
Well, the person that's in that position is an employee of the general fund, the city of Erie, but is reimbursed by the pension funds for all the work they're doing.
I think it's quarterly, they
salary
they submit a
or
bill.
salary or,
Salary and benefits.
and benefits.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Audited too.
It is audited independently. Sure we do. Oh,
Onward,
yep, where are we now?
page 24.
Okay.
Finance director.
Oh, boy.
Whoa.
Talk about,
Yeah, cut that. I spent
We get
about
Kaz
$4,000 or
another cup of
$5,000
coffee.
Where's that axe?
every year.
I'm ready.
And 3,000 of it's on accounting software. Office supplies, operating supplies, consumables, professional services, long distance phone, and other services and charges. And that's part of it.
Why is it blank for year to date?
We just paid that bill in the month of November. It's for the accounting software. I paid for half and Teresa pays for half.
You don't anticipate any training, huh?
Well, we were hurting a little bit this year, so I was going to
Okay.
go to the GFOA conference, but we kind of cut that down.
I commend you.
Well, as you're being commended, I'm also concerned. If we don't stay up on the technology and the finance that's going on in the world and that affects us, then we are in trouble.
I'm not in disagreement.
I can tell you,
We need to stay up on top of that. Training is very important. We talked about that about the previous meeting.
and one
Talk
thing
about
about his,
training.
one thing about his department, when they travel, and I've been with them, They go to the classes and study.
All right, so
I mean,
Always gives their money back, too.
that's right. Me too.
well, I always,
I return a big chunk.
I think you need to reconsider, or either we need to reconsider training.
Are you okay with that, though? I mean, you know, hey, you, like you and I talked, that's a really, you know,
A lot of the things I do CPE at the accounting firm overlap, and we pay for it.
because, you know, in the past, I watched your training, it wasn't, you know, over-abused, though.
No.
Good job, Paul.
Thank you. Moving on.
How about the director? Do we want a director? I'm just joking.
Personnel, HR. And this one has where you were asking where one of the FTEs, if you
Yeah.
had your 18 book with you, you'd see that there were 4 FTEs listed here, and this year there's 3. Right after the first of the year, if we had to replace somebody that moved into one of the positions, be it Kathy, Michael, I don't remember which one up in the mayor's office. So there's 3 full-time there.
Oh, we're okay in those manuals and everything, but, or does that come under civil service?
Some comes under that, and I mean, we can go through that budget right now. The office supplies in Connie's room, office supplies,
Yeah.
and computer supplies, that type of thing. That's what she spent her money on.
But the books and manuals we
Yeah.
need for, we're okay in
Well,
that?
the books- Yes, the books, a lot of the books and manuals, like I said, come under civil service.
Okay, just checking.
Her professional services, and that's where we pay for the non-civil service, drug testing, Department of Transportation testing. We have a service called Life Solutions for our employees, where if I'm having any type of problem, I can call Life Solutions and they'll help me out. And same with the J.J. Keller software. These are both employee benefit related help and things.
So they come under there, not risk management, right?
No.
Okay.
You talked about Department of Transportation, that's probably the check for people who are hired for?
Yes.
Okay, so has HR done any projections on retirements throughout the workforce?
You know, that question was asked of me today, and I went back downstairs, and we've averaged in the low 20s the last 5 years for employees retiring. And
Does that include uniform or non-uniform?
both.
Okay.
And the Department of Transportation testing, that's just for people that have their CDL.
Okay, I'm just wondering if they've done a projection, can we find out what the, if you could do a projection that you normally have 20 people retire, X number management, X number, you know, bargaining unit, and what those salaries are, and then what incoming salaries might be. I know it would be pretty general, but I think it'd be pretty helpful for us to know if there are retirements on the horizon where if people are coming in, if they would be coming in at a lower salary. I think that that's a really good metric to have. And I would think it would be HR that would do that.
Well, at this point in time, we have 3 people on the drop plan that are going to leave in the next few months. 2 are ASMEs and one's a management non-bargaining person, actually, which we're going to get to in about two pages in the purchasing department. So, otherwise, it's very, the police and fire, they just kind of throw it at you. And we're expecting, with the contract negotiations coming up next fall, that it always seems that every 4 years, when either we negotiate the police or fire contract, you know, the older guys want to get out so they can get what they think to be the good contract before a new contract gets instituted.
And it's hard to get a mark, because of their reverse drop, you can't really get a good,
No, you can't get a good feel on when somebody is going to go and
because
not
the
go.
Ford one, once they commit, we know that in 3 years they're gone. But the drop plan going backwards, police and fire, they can change their mind, and they do.
Yeah.
Every, what, 3 months?
But usually, I mean, I think that usually some department heads would know if somebody's nearing retirement, and is there any kind of foresight into that from your managers as that says, hey, I know that this person, I'm not talking about the police officers and the firefighters, I'm talking about other employees. I mean, most HR places do some kind of planning ahead to say, well, we have this number of people reaching retirement age, and if it's not being done, I think it should be done so that we can find out if those positions need to be filled and if they can be filled at a lower rate, so.
Usually they'll sign up for the 3-year job when they're going out, so you can't, they can leave at any time, but you gotta at least look 3 years out, so you can't. really-
That's for everybody?
And now they all got the drop now.
They all have the drop, but
They have the
most people will
capability.
sign up for 3 years and they may change their mind, which you can do, but if you sign up for a year, then you definitely have to leave, so everybody stretches it out for 3 years and then decides.
That doesn't sound great to hear, but
So like the.
how can I get a job like that?
Some of them have like a package deal and they retired early. Do you ever have something like that?
No,
But incentive?
yeah.
Retirement incentive.
I don't think we ever had one, I remember.
Yes, back in the
Really?
2000s,
We
they
did?
did that. It didn't, I'm looking at the budget books from back then. It didn't seem to work out too well because you get hit with the employee payouts for all the sick and vacation time that people have accumulated. Then the pension gets hit pretty bad because everybody takes their drop money out of the pension, and that really harmed the corpus of those 3 pensions back in that time frame. And you, I think, weren't you?
I was there
Ronnie, you were controller at that.
when the first one
Yeah,
hit.
when that happened, and
Yeah, we were battling legal issues and everything.
the asset value of the pensions
Took a
dropped
hit.
considerably at that point.
Hey, Teresa, can you just explain how the drop plan works now? Not just for, I mean, I remember the reverse drop, and we do have a couple people in the audience. Can you explain how that drop plan works so that we,
For all 3 of them, or at least the ones that have the reverse drop,
okay.
where
Kathy, do you know what the reverse drop is?
I'm glad you're explaining it.
So basically, once they hit retirement age, if they can work and say they want to retire at 53, but they can go back 3 years, they would retire at the age of 50 at that salary. And then they would take their 3 years of their salary that they banked and take that as a big payment, payout.
Lump sum.
Lump sum,
Lump sum
right.
distribution.
So that's how the police do it when they do the reverse drop.
Okay,
The O&E, they basically will retire, and they have a 3-year forward drop, so they would retire at 62, they can sign up for the drop at 62 and go at 65, and the same applies there. It's, you know, they set aside that 3 years, and that would be their lump sum payment that they would go.
okay, and do we know what an average lump sum payment is?
It varies,
Yeah.
because
3
it's
years,
based on your
it's
salary.
3 years of your pension, which if you're vested fully, your pension's about half of your salary.
Okay.
Now, police and fire, they get add-ons, so their pension actually becomes about 60% of their salary. So if I'm a fireman making 80 or 90,000, you know, the math of that, they get about $150,000.
Yeah, the first ones were getting well
Yeah.
over 100-some thousand when they
So
left.
that's why when I said this, the pension fund gets hurt. You know, if you have 10 people drop in a year, you're gonna lose $2 million right out of the bank account. So,
But eventually, we're gonna pay that out, right? I mean, eventually, you know,
Not all at one shot, it more of it.
everybody's,
no, they get that, they get that 150,000 the day they walk out the door.
Yeah.
okay. And that's, the 150,000 is the average for a police officer walking out the door? Okay, and is there an average for the other workers when they walk out the door?
Salary is very different.
What would be the highest amount somebody would walk out with?
Might have been close to 90,000.
Okay,
And we just started that program for the O&E just in the past couple of years.
Any questions on personnel department? Moving on. Was it civil service, Paul?
Yes, civil services next.
That's page 26 there. You're right there.
And the civil service takes care of all the, like the police and the fire, the testing. Also, when new hires are tested, they do psych evaluations, they do physicals, they do all sorts of things. And just like this year, we spent $7,000 on just testing. New hire testing was $4,800, and the police testing was $8,400. So, 17 this was, not 18. So, they also do drug screening, psych evaluations.
We pay for the drug screening?
Yes,
We have to, or, I'm just asking?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why this falls, those things fall under civil service.
Do we have a drug screening program that you could call an employee at random?
Random, yes, we do. For police, fire, and also anybody that has their CDL license.
And that comes
The
under-
big truck drivers,
And that comes under their department, right?
yes.
Okay.
And they pull they don't pull names out of a hat, it's computer driven, but it's random testing.
But that don't seem to
Do
be.
we have a program if we have an individual that failed the test once or failed the test twice? Do we have a program that we send them to?
Yes, we do.
Okay, I'm good.
If the CDL driver gets caught, does he get a second chance?
No, they don't. They
I didn't
get
think they did.
suspended, and there's issues there.
Yeah, the state, like when I was at the school board, they just, CDL driver?
One and done.
He's done, yep, you don't get a second chance. Okay,
Page 27, the Department of Accounting.
okay, that's all your employees, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's one, if I can just bring this up, as Renee mentioned, different departments. If you look at the departments, and the departments that are under my purview, accounting, payroll, IT, print shop, right now, the ASME workers are making as much as the management non-bargaining people. And if there's not any type of cost of living increase this year, in our department, I know, Kaz, you said, I get all that, I just want to make this mention of the fact that mine is the department where the union workers are making more than the management non-bargaining people.
There's probably a few of those departments.
No,
Corolla Department,
no.
Office of,
You-
yeah.
see, I noticed a problem in City Hall. And I'm
Well,
not,
wait,
well, go
Jimmy
ahead.
brought up,
Go ahead, Jim, I'm sorry.
I'm absolutely, every year I bring this up, that the controller and the treasurer, I mean, they're in
Are
charge of
grossly underpaid
$130
compared-
million. One's in charge of handling $130 million of cash, and the other one's in charge of making sure $130 million is spent properly, and we're paying them $40,000, $50,000. You know, I guess by ordinance, we could change that. So, and again, I've said the same thing about council, $6,000 for all that you go through and all that the time you put in is, you're vastly underpaid. So, that's my pontificate.
Well, no, I looked around the Commonwealth and I come up with average salaries. I didn't like the last plan because I thought it was,
It's coming again, Cass.
well, I thought it was excessive in some areas, and I stand by my statement that, but I'm saying, what happens around City Hall is certain departments are more attractive than other departments. And it seems to attract the people with more seniority, by nature of the way the union constructed. So some departments, yeah, you're gonna see that vast disparity where, like even in her office, everybody made more than her, everybody. Okay, and it's because of the way they set up the contract a lot of times. The better employees of more seniority bid into there, you know, that happens. And I noticed that too when I was recruiting in my office. Some offices are more attractive, so they, you know, so you're gonna have that disparity all around City Hall. The unions are always gonna seem to make them more in management. in a lot
Show
of
me
areas.
another place, though, where all managers are getting across-the-board wages. It's not happening. It's not happening without performance reviews. And that was one of the mayor's promises, was that there were going to be reviews. And I know he's been really busy, but if I were coming in as the mayor, I would have looked and said, oh my God, there's, the debt payments are going up. We're going to have a tough budget year because we sat in on the study sessions last year where current council members pointed out that it was going to be ugly this year. And since most of the budget is going to pay for people, I'm disappointed that the performance reviews were not put in place, and I don't understand. I'd like to see an example of somewhere else where people are getting 3% across the board. And the problem is that the 3% has been there consistently, even when the cost of living has not risen that way. You know, we had inflation held in check for a long time, but everybody was getting 3%, and our revenues are not growing. It's a simple math conundrum. It's a
And we
good
have-
word, conundrum.
And we have pensioners that, in one aspect, do not get a COLA ever in their life. And you know what I'm talking about. I understand, Paul, but it's there. The reality is that we would have to extend that,
Okay, that's
okay?
unfair.
When we're saying to you that you guys have to feel the same pain that some of these pensioners feel that have never had a COLA in 20, 30 years. I worked at a private sector, Paul, and I didn't get a raise for 8 years because we didn't make quota. That's a sad reality. I mean, look, I feel your pain too, okay? But we all gotta make tough decisions because this is not an easy budget. And it's not selling good out there in Erieville.
Not selling. In
Okay,
my 10 years,
I'm not gonna hear- I'm-
just in my 10 years, this is the toughest budget I've been.
Gee, I'm not gonna fight you on that, I agree. My point was, and Liz, you asked me about that when the mayor's presentation, there's a fairness to what goes on, and we are an organization, so, you know.
All right, let me ask a fairness question. What percentage of all workers in the city, workers who work for the city, live in the city? Do you know? What, overall, management, bargaining, what percentage live in the city?
60%, is it?
I would like to know that.
I think this is a.
Because the fairness issue,
60 or 40?
And I admire you, Paul. But the reality around here is that it doesn't
What's,
exist.
we can say it out loud.
Well, there's so many of them. I did it by bargaining.
I don't think the public realizes though.
What is the percentage?
okay, I'll read it. AFSCME, 44% live in the city, fire 35%, management 55%, police 22%, and Teamster 60%.
What's the total?
Can you want to get the calculator
job?
out and do that, the aggregate? But I can do it. I'll get the calculator.
Aggregate doesn't, I mean, because
Here's what,
some of those are civil service.
yeah, but here's what
They
Joe
don't
and
just
Susie
all
think.
hires.
Here's what Joe and Susie think.
Okay,
They misunderstood what the mayor meant when he imposed that income tax. I had people call me going, thank God it's gonna affect everybody. It doesn't, okay? It only affects people in this, let me get this so you understand this. It's, Jim, you asked me this question. It's anybody that lives in the city, correct? Regardless of where they work, that's gonna pay this extra income tax if we vote on it, correct?
correct.
Okay, so if,
So, there again, I actually live right over the city limits in Mill Creek. It's still gonna affect me.
well, you work at Mill Creek,
I work in Mill Creek.
yeah.
Yeah, we're, pay where you live.
Okay, so just so the public knows, when an employee lives outside the city, we get no income tax, except that little bit, the 0018.
Yes.
We get no real estate tax, and we probably don't get them shopping or doing anything big in the city except buying an occasional sandwich. So just so everybody knows, that's what we're talking about, okay? And until the laws change, we have to start thinking about that, okay? So to these people that don't feel like a $50-some thousand job is a great deal, move to Mill Creek and get a job.
As you eloquently put it, Lou Tullio, I mean, he lost that in court. He tried to, and I mean, he
Nope.
tried to fight that.
Right, but I'm saying, we need to make an attempt when we hire people to take that into consideration.
It's not gonna increase our population by taxing people to death, whether they live here, they work here, you know.
I mean, I'd love to make $50,000 to $80,000 and be able to buy a house in Mill Creek, and boy, you know, that would look great, you know? But Paul, I gotta live in the city like everybody else, okay? And I gotta pay the same taxes that I'm gonna vote on. And that's the unfairness of the situation. I think it's a question, you know, so when I hear these tiers and everything about, it's gonna be tough on the people that gotta pay. That's my mother, her friends, me, and my neighbors, and the people I eat breakfast with, okay? I gotta tell them what I'm gonna do to them. So I don't wanna hear no more tiers, okay? We got tough cuts to make. Let's consider it, okay? That's all I'm saying.
Do you guys want me to go make a copy of this? I can go do that.
No, you
Copy
can-
machine, or just pass it around.
Pass it down,
Okay.
I'll make a copy.
Okay, Department of Accounting, the big things are office supplies. Obviously, we're buying checks and envelopes, and other services and charges. We have to do, you know, our mandated microfilm every year, so everything on CD-ROM. Keep all of
Yes.
our records.
Just the numbers.
Otherwise, we have some, you know,
That's just the numbers that
Postage.
they're passing around.
and the like.
Any questions on, finance and budget?
What are the other services and charges for this department?
This one?
Yeah.
We microfilm all of our accounting records at the end of the year, so that to keep those things in. As you guys have Laserfeature down here, that Rose uses to keep all of your records, we do the same thing up there. You know, with IRS rules, we have to keep things on file.
And they actually cut it,
I
so.
both have to at this time.
Yeah, because we used to have, when I first started, we had the microfilming machine, and now we use computer for all this stuff.
And now it's better if we hire a company to come in and do it faster, quicker.
Yes, Mr. President.
Office payroll?
Payroll, same number of FTEs as in the past. Below the line, office supplies, which are W-2s, envelopes, paid checks. You'll see a whole list of things in that line item, well, paper, pens, pencils, but the time cards that some of the departments still use. And
Why are they still using time cards? I know that one of the recommendations from the early intervention program from 13 years ago was to upgrade the payroll department. So why are they still using time cards, and when is that going to be changed?
some of the Teamsters use time cards up in the municipal garage area, and then those records are transferred into the computerized payroll.
Am I correct that the early intervention program recommended upgrading payroll so that it wasn't being done manually?
Yes,
And was that done?
yes,
Except for the time cards by the Teamsters?
yes.
Is that going to be upgraded or no?
Some departments are, some are being worked on. The sewer department currently is using computerized.
There's a cost, and we gotta vote on it,
On what?
on changes like that. Okay, any questions on that department?
How do people get their paychecks? Like, my dad, as a retired police officer, he used to get a paycheck, but now it just goes
Direct deposit.
direct deposit. Everybody?
No, there are still some people that get paychecks.
This one.
Although the pension funds have gone that way.
Yes. But we have people that don't have bank accounts, so that they have to get a check.
Are we gonna push that way eventually,
To save
Paul?
on postage.
We're trying.
Okay.
We've tried with even the summer help to get them to do direct deposit, but because of the fact not everybody has a bank account,
Well, they forced the pension plan to do it.
I know they did.
They just told them, That's the way it's gonna be. Pardon?
They charged them $10 for a check.
Yeah. Maybe something we gotta consider, I mean,
This is mostly seasonal workers who don't have bank accounts. Why aren't we doing financial literacy to get them a bank account? I mean, so Kevin Flowers is laughing now at me. Anyhow, I mean, even Social Security, you know, it's all direct deposit now. But is it mostly seasonal workers who don't have a bank account?
No, there's a mixture.
I get it. I mean, I'm old fashioned.
you now with like Social Security.
How much does it cost to print that paycheck? I don't know. Why don't you ask? I mean, I think that's worth asking, because I would like to know how many businesses still do paychecks. I mean, it is cool to get a paycheck, but I think we got to keep up with the times here. And financial literacy classes for the summer jams people.
Office of, Information next, is that it?
Office of IT. And there is actually a handout in the council book for some of the different things Brian King and his department on page 29,
Page
page
30.
30 in the handout book shows what, or 29 it is, what they spend their money on. Obviously, office supplies are just the paper, pens, and pencils that they use, operating supplies, color, computer cleaning supplies, and then you get into repair maintenance of computer equipment. But I think the big ones to hit on, 4045, communication, 4056, repair maintenance, and 4059 are all listed out where we spent the money in that department over the last few years.
Basically $100,000 from last year for this time.
Yeah, a lot of the different licenses come in at the end of the year. And you'll see that, I mean, historically, going back, that spending has always been, you know, it always kind of hits at the end of the year.
Any questions on that department? What's the next one, technology, Paul, or?
Well, no, that, I mean,
Oh, that's just a roster,
Yeah.
that's right. Where are we next, purchasing, or,
we're gonna go to purchasing.
you wanna keep going?
On page 32 of the book. The budget book. Very little spending in that department other than advertising for bids.
He's okay lowering it too, or, just curious, okay.
Sid's gone into, really tried hard with those reverse raffles the last few years,
Yeah.
bidding on those things and some of the things, you know, making phone calls for different contracts.
Yeah, he does a good job.
Yeah.
He works with the COG pretty good too.
Done 2 or 3 new contracts with the COG as opposed to the last 2, 3, 4.
Remind him if there's anything he needs above and beyond what they supply, COG would be willing to, you know, extend their, what they, bid out, so. If there's anything you,
He talks to Jessica once a month or so.
yeah, she
about
just
different
tells me to
stuff.
remind everybody here that there's something the city needs, they'll, they'll extend it if they can. Print shop?
Print shop, pretty much the only thing there besides the one person that is in that department is some below the line things for his operating supplies, which is paper, where we pay our real estate tax bills and a multitude of other things that happen around the city each year.
Hey, Paul, why did we cut, Repair, maintenance, and consumable items.
Just, Randy has a storage of stuff, but really didn't think we needed.
I mean, he's so low, I mean,
Yeah.
I might consider putting some of that back or something.
Well, a lot of the repair has anymore, or a lot of the equipment we have in that department are on service agreements, so anything that's being repaired, we're not doing it internally. It's being paid out of the 56 account, the repair maintenance services.
Because I checked, I checked a lot of this book, and he's already exceeded, I believe he's already exceeded the amounts in those two departments. So, I mean, we're cutting them, and he's already up that high this year.
Yeah, but it's the last 3 or 4 years, if you look back at those 3 or 4 years, there have been 2 or 3 years, each one of those line items, that have been zeros.
Just asking.
Excellent question.
Pardon?
Excellent question.
I did check. I check all departments. I still got some of my accounting skills yet. Anybody, any questions about printing?
Do you ever have, like, he had put out days that print's not going to be working or something in December? Is there ever a substitute printer?
We do have someone. There's a gentleman, years ago, there were 2 people in this department.
Yeah, they cut them way back.
Yeah, and one got cut, and that person is still here in City Hall, working in the code enforcement department. So if Randy's off, he still knows how to run all the equipment. If Randy's off and there would be an emergency printing of some sort, he could go downstairs and do that.
So I guess the moral of that is that you can say that you only need one print shop person, but you're still going to have a job. And that's just my sarcastic comment there, because why do we have a print shop?
Why?
We have a print shop where we got parking permits as city council members, and official was misspelled on it. I was talking to somebody at the county, and they were shocked that we still had a print shop.
What, the school district has one?
Good question. Why does the school district have a
Because they
print shop?
found out over experience that what Randy does, and he's been asked to do a myriad of things. Those books that go, those pamphlets that go out, those color ones, I don't think if we did it privately, and I will say this, and not get your ex-employer, I know how much I had to pay for you to do my stuff. And I know how much it cost me to get a union printer that didn't work for the Times to do it for me, okay? And over the years, they found out that Randy's department can put out these color things that we have for the garbage, for the Celebrate Erie, all that stuff. And when council needs, like these books and everything, we could easily, yeah, we could farm them out, but.
I'm just asking.
No, experience has told us, and I learned that at the school district, because I had to advertise, and it's not cheap. So, you know, but I'm just, you know, they looked at it before, and they found out that, you know, he may have misspelled it, but I'll tell you what, he would correct it. If, you know, things happen. Heck, I mean, I don't even get the same respect from the legal department here. They used to misspell my name. And
This
sometimes
was
the
official,
administration
not
still
my
spells
name.
my name wrong at times. But, you know, that happens.
still works.
People are people. But,
Spelled it wrong, but I still don't get a ticket, so.
pardon?
I don't care how they spell it, I don't get a ticket.
If we could take it back, though, if you don't want your pass. Just joking.
No, I use it for when I'm working on city council.
Any other departments? Or
We're
is
gonna
it-
hit the Office of Local Match,
Okay,
and then we're gonna do general government,
and that'll probably be it for today.
and then call it an evening.
Is that enough? 2 more? Is that enough for tonight?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay,
What page is the Office of Local Match?
page 60.
For the newcomers, you want to explain that just real quick?
The Office of Local Match is the Department of Community and Economic Development. And all the salaries for that department are paid out of the general fund Whereas you'll see on page, page 24 of the handout book, that a portion of these salaries, because it's work being done for, be it a HUD program or some type of CDBG program, those funds are reimbursed to us. So these people do work for, the people in that office do work for both the general fund of Erie, the city of Erie, and also the federal program. And the money that's spent, let me go to the below the line first. The office supplies, the consumables, the professional services, which is the single audit, education and training, communication, postage, advertising, repair and maintenance. Those are the amounts that that department pays for non-federal program items. And then the last thing, the other services charges we pay for our Chamber of Commerce, and there's a list of professional memberships: Chamber of Commerce, Technology Council, Industrial Development, K2 Innovation Zone, Manufacturers Association, and all those different dues licenses come out of there.
And can you talk about the reimbursement reduction? That's going to be restored in 2020? Can you just talk about, because this is one of the well, smaller reasons of why we have a deficit, but could you just explain that so we are clear about what it means?
We're hoping through some of the conversations Chris Groner has had with HUD down in Pittsburgh that will be reinstituted, but
It's not sure, or it's not for another year?
we're working on it at this point in time.
But am I reading this correctly? CDBG salary reimbursement reduction, $750,000 is
Yes, that's
responsible
correct.
for part of the deficit, correct?
Yes, and I think there's, one of the things is, and it doesn't show up in this line item, but in the revenue section, normally we were getting $500,000 of the CDBG money to use for community
Right.
policing. And that's going to be cut down to $60,000 because HUD made a
A ruling, yeah.
determination that it was only for new programs, and we were using this money for programs that had been in place for many years. So that money, the $750,000, is the amount of money we're not going to be getting as a revenue item this year compared to last year. And also some of the people in this section, that's about $250,000 of reimbursements from them, and also some of the things that the code enforcement people were doing will not be reimbursed. And that's why I think if you look at page 24 in the handout book, and you pull out your handout book from last year, you can see the difference, and I didn't bring my 2017 handout book. Okay, oh, Kathy.
I do too.
Okay, there you go, listen, Kathy.
What page are we looking for, though?
24 in this year's book, and I didn't tell you, I have no clue what it is in last year's book. But there you'll see the difference in the reimbursement, and what they do, oh no, not the CAFR book, this book from last year. And what happens is, on an annual basis, and I guess Lisa, would you rather speak to this because you were up there and did this for a couple of years? People's kind of, they go through time cards, and maybe I should shut up a little bit.
Hi.
All right, well, everybody turns in a time card every week, and they allocate how much of their time was spent in all the reimbursable areas, whether that be the home program, the CDBG program, and some other state grant programs. And this is all tracked and used to calculate a reimbursement to the city of Erie for their salaries, and that happens quarterly.
So last year, it says total general fund reimbursement was $1,052,000, it looks like, and then for this year, $866,000, does that sound right? Okay.
plus the green policing, sorry.
Do we lose our community policing?
We're gonna lose 440,000 of it, yes.
That doesn't mean we're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my good.
No, we're not gonna cut back on the routes that those guys are that group or whoever those people were last year, the routes or the patrolling they were doing. It's just that we can't take the CDBG reimbursement anymore.
And it's
I
my
thought they
understanding
changed
that they're
Again, Lisa, sorry.
no, it's my understanding that they're working with HUD on what types of programs they can implement and how they need to structure the record keeping so that HUD will accept new programs for reimbursement.
And the only reason I'm having Lisa answer this is, she's been in our department for 7 years, but when they got into a little bit of a lurch when somebody retired upstairs, she was actually upstairs as the accountant in the economic development department for 2 years. So she's intimate with all the goings on and how this all works.
Okay, I thought they changed the ruling on it and that they were gonna allocate that money that you could use it for community policing after we had been allowed to use it from its inception, I almost thought. Then we hit a curve this year, and then after negotiations between,
Our understanding is, and Chris Groner's in contact.
I might
with
even
all
still have the
about
article.
$60,000, yeah.
okay,
They restored the public service cap, which is what you made me think
Yeah.
of. Because that we were grandfathered in at what,
2 or
22.5%. Had said that they didn't have any record of that. They wanted to make a public service cap 60%, 15%. We were able to produce a letter from the 80s
okay.
showing that we were grandfathered in, and so they did restore that. But still, they're looking at the community policing and code enforcement. I am saying that
Because we could use that we really could use that to our advantage with this budget as well as just for what we have.
that allowed us to allocate the money to the community centers.
Well, it also helped allocate money to the community policing, which was big, has been big in prior years.
Right, but they had an issue with how what we were doing was being reported in the accounts and what the money was being used for, and that's what we're dealing with.
Okay,
We're trying to find out what they want from us in the future.
good, thank you.
And it was good for community centers, that's
Yes.
Any other questions? Last one.
Is general government.
The catch-all.
And that's gonna be on page 62 of the regular book, and there's a handout on page 32 of the budget handout book that shows the detail to where each of these things are. And so going down through each line item, I think it's important
It's 62 in the budget book, 32.
if you don't mind me drawing on for 5 more minutes. The employee payouts is the average of what we've paid out each employee that's left the sick and vacation time over the last 3 years, times the number of employees we're thinking, or which is averaged out. And it was 23 times 30 to get you about $730,000 is what we've averaged in paying people out. And again, if everybody remembers, that's the contractually negotiated sick and vacation time, not the drop money. This is actually other money that goes when people retire. And based on the number of people that are on unemployment each year, we budget about $80,000 every year. And looking back, you can see spending wise, it's at 80,000 this year, and 66, 65, and 4 years ago it was 85 or 88, if I remember. So we budget 88,000. Our professional services, We're budgeting $623,000 this year, and that line by line, I mean, again, I don't want to drone on. Everybody has read this. If there's any questions about some of these line items, the audit, we pay Berkheimer where we outsource our income taxes. Employee EES, we take care of our cafeteria plan, legal services and fees, and that's part, our solicitor. And then also, it's this year, it's been 5 years, if everyone remembers the last time we did the fixed asset audit. So it's been 5 years since we did that. So that thing the last time we did it was 23,000, and we've talked to industrial appraisal, and it's probably gonna be about the same thing. Manufacturers Association, dues, and miscellaneous banking, legal, and professional. Is professional in Kansas, we just spoke to Don Becker yesterday. We pay about $9,000 every 2 years for our post-employment benefit audit, and it's been 2 years since that happened. Computer updates, $85,000 a year, and then our mailing service, $2,000 a year.
Paul, I did see this, like you said, a jump in legal services.
Yes.
Why is that big of a jump, I guess?
Well,
Ed Betts' salary,
Ed
right?
Betts' salary,
Is,
plus,
in-
it's a service, so they were both lumped together, plus the fixed asset audit.
and are we gonna reach, do you believe, what we had budgeted for 2018?
For,
That same line item?
yeah.
Budgeted 164, we're at 130 naturally through the end of October. Are we gonna be close to that it
For other
needed?
services and charges, yes. Okay, I mean, going through that, Jim, our bond fees and cost allocation plan, the dog licenses, the Erie County Data Center, the Summer Jams program, we're part of that, the PA Tax Collectors Association, appraisal services and legal services, where there've just been a multitude, and I could read those off if anyone wants to listen to all the legal services we've paid for over the years. We joined the League of Cities, we joined PELRAS, we actually paid a fee to UPMC for the Life Solutions Program, U.S. Conference of Mayors, and the VISTA program.
Jim, are you the liaison for the zoo?
No.
It's Bob.
Oh,
What was your question?
well, nothing against the zoo, but I was wondering how financially solvent they are if they could pay for their gas.
That is a tricky subject. When I was controller, I had to point out that was contractual. And we used to have a gas well, which is not functioning anymore. I was,
It's not even there.
no, I was the last controller, had to tell council that that was gone. And there was
It was in the parking lot of the zoo, right next to J.C. Martin Golf Course. There was a gas well
I remember.
that we were gonna make $1 zillion off of, and it went dry, Kaz, after what, a couple, 3 years?
yeah, I was only in office
And
like,
our deal was, you let us pump the gas here, and then we'll take care of you, our deal at the zoo. And it was gonna be great, but for some reason, the well went dry.
but I'll tell you this, the deal that they could stick us on would be a lot more than 75,000.
Yeah.
It's contractual, wasn't it, Paul?
It
Yes.
says not
Yeah, it
contractual.
says not
Well, it's not contractual,
But an
in that it was an agreement,
Yeah,
yes.
that's,
I mean, there's not
we didn't pay them on a lot of other things
Yeah.
that we could have been obligated to, so.
But do we ever go back and say, the zoo already, they cut back their
It's why they're not
hours?
open at winter now,
No, I
because we
know,
cut them.
I know, but have we ever gone back to say, hey, our financial position has worsened, how about picking up more of the tab here? I mean, they just got a big state grant for J.C. Martin, I don't know where that comes under, is that under the purview of the Erie Zoological Society?
Yeah. I mean, that's a moneymaker for them, so I mean,
I just think,
No, I
you know,
think you-
things are worth asking.
I mean, we gave them a death knell when I was controller, because council had to tell them, we could not deliver. You remember that, we couldn't deliver what we promised, and they went along with it, and they made cuts. I mean, they shut down earlier in the year and all that, and, you know, council can do anything they want, but I would hate to, you know, I think they've cooperated quite a bit.
We need
Yeah.
a new liaison to the zoo, now that Bob is gone.
That's up to the president, that's
I have a question about the contribution to the County Human Relations Commission, $15,000. I'm sure I'm going to go out of here with the reputation of being a real hard ass, because first of all, gave a hard time to the community benefits people, and then I'm giving a hard time to employees. My question about this is, you know, if you've read the news, you know that the HRC has kind of imploded. There was a political appointment to the director of the HRC. The person who was most qualified for that job was overlooked. The chairwoman of the HRC quit, and I'm wondering why we're subsidizing somebody's pension to get a higher pension to be the director of the HRC. I'm talking about the new person who's been appointed there. I would like to point this out, that the city is supposed to contribute $15,000 to the HRC, which is going to go right into the pocket, if I'm right, in terms of how much that person's pension eventually is going to increase.
Are
So,
we obligated? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I think it might send a message to county council that we are not going to put up with these shenanigans. HRC is there for a very good reason, because of various types of discrimination cases that have occurred throughout the county. It should not be a political plum. And if we have to do that by taking away $15,000, which is a drop in the bucket in terms of an $11 million deficit, I think we ought to look at it. I, for one, do not want to pay my tax dollars to fatten somebody's pension. A particular person at the HRC I'm talking about. So I'm just pointing that out. Just something to mull over.
Risk management, 4069, the payment for the general fund to the property casualty insurance fund, contingency account, $100,000, which is put into contingency based on the contract negotiations for the Teamsters, Council of Government, DID, EMTA, CAT TV, the zoo gas, and then the real estate taxes on the cell phone tower up on Hilltop.
Why do we pay real estate on that?
Because we collect about $75,000 in revenue from Sprint and
Yeah.
Verizon, so that makes this,
Taxable?
yes.
Even though we're a government agency?
Yes, it's not a non-tax,
Yeah.
it's only a portion of it that we pay tax on.
Okay, just asking.
I see Cat TV's at 100,000 again.
Yes.
I don't know how solvent they have gotten over the
It
last
keeps
couple
them,
of
it keeps them afloat. And
They actually have changed their name to CAT Media.
Rebranded, yeah.
And I think it's worth asking. I mean, I know, I just went with a training class with the guy. It was really good, but that is a lot of money to go to CATM.
Well, I'm the liaison, and I'll tell you what they did with the money we gave them. They upgraded all their equipment, and they want to expand. They've been pretty good to Paul. They've tried to be,
Not anymore,
well, because you guys,
luckily not anymore.
well, you guys forced them into that, but, so what this does is, we used to give them a lot more. And they were really in danger, but they used the money to buy new equipment and upgrade.
Right, they do, it's
Yeah.
great, what they have.
And they try to, they try to work with the city on a reduced cost. And, you know, they'd like to do more, but,
But you can't get them on bunny ears, you have to have
Pardon?
Spectrum. You have to have Spectrum to get them. Like
uh,
I don't have, you can get,
I think you can stream them.
I don't have cable.
I think you
So
can
do I
stream
get
them,
it?
though. I think you can stream them.
No, Kat's asking if you have.
No, you can't get on DirecTV. That's DirecTV's choice.
I don't have DirecTV, I don't have anything.
Well, if you got a computer, I think you can get them, you can stream it. I'll ask them at the, you know, I'll find out for you. I know that if you got DirecTV, it's no, because they, for a while, they didn't even do Channel 12 and all them. That was their choice, you know.
I guess, and that's just something we can put an asterisk by is, okay, they've upgraded their equipment. Are they gonna upgrade it again this year, or, you know, I mean,
That's a good
is,
question, Jim.
have
Do
they
they-
done anything
I can tell you this,
to help?
they're running on basically one person and 2 half-timers. So, I mean, they've cut pretty decent, and, you know, just keeping their programs alive, which I remind everybody is community-based programming. A lot of the churches use them and stuff like that. So, I mean, I would consider it carefully.
Just say leave them alone.
Okay, yeah, let's leave them alone.
All right, got my vote,
Okay.
got my vote.
Thank you, Madam President.
Before everybody leaves, can we talk real quick about the replacement for Bob?
Not
Liz, any,
tonight.
No, you're free to go.
Can you guys are free.
Thank you.
Enjoy,
now Monday is police and fire.
yes.
Anybody want anything, need anything?
going-
Dan's gonna be here and Guy's gonna be here. So,
Now, something like this where you're here, how are you gonna fix it out?
Well, we don't know who's gonna be here tomorrow. There's another whole thing coming out tomorrow.
Yeah.
so Dan and Guy will be here, we're good.
Does anybody need anything from police and fire? Tell Paul now. Anybody need anything?
So we'll have the same kind of setup with the.
I told him what I
PowerPoint?
wanted was an
That
update
great.
on the parking and how they're
Yeah,
collecting,
we
and the
already did
numbers,
that.
and,
And Lisa, Christine has that. If you're down tomorrow, come see it.
all right.
Okay.
I wanna know how we're doing. I seen,
Or did Christine do the parking? Oh, no, Lisa did. And you're so, wait, have you told everyone you're gonna sit on 2 meetings in the next week?
no, I wanna, hey,
6 times, how about 6 times for a day?
I am disappointed about one thing with the administration though. Paul,
Yes, sir.
it would have been nice for the administration. Jimmy, did you know about the new cameras on the police cars?
Oh, I heard it on,
To
not on
There's
the
only
new
one
camera.
car
One,
that's being
to the
tested.
administration,
One car that's being
to the
tested.
administration, from my own opinion, it would have been nice for you to notify the council liaison to the police department and also offered us a nice view of the equipment we bought and we pushed for.
No, it was free. They're letting us use it for free.
There's
to
nothing
try
for,
it out.
nothing for free in
No,
government.
This is, well, you know what they're doing, they're trying to get us to like it.
It's still, okay, let's forget about, it would have been nice if we would have saw a rollout of it.
No, we don't need
Okay,
that.
yes, we do.
No, we don't.
No, I do, maybe you don't, you'll,
What is gonna change? Nothing.
All right, just real quick. What are we gonna do? We have, I think it's 29 people who
we'll have
have,
more tomorrow.
I know.
Yeah.
This is sort of different, isn't it? Have you ever had this many?
Not that many at the school district.